Hey guys, this is MinionNoMore, and in this video you will learn why you should know the patty cake rhyme and consider to do jumping jacks if you want to stop caring what people think of you. So let's start. The first tip is to understand that it is impossible to please everyone. If you care a lot what others think, you are literally trying to please everyone. If you do this, you will find yourself in situations from time to time where you've said to one person that you really like thing A and hate thing B, and said to another person that you love thing B but dislike A. And then you very much hope that these two people will never meet and talk about you. So don't do this. Have your own taste, say what's on your mind and understand that it is impossible to please everyone. Just take a look at my YouTube videos or at anyone else's YouTube videos. Even if a YouTuber says something like "please like my video," it is almost impossible to get 100 or 1000 likes without a single dislike. Or take a look at politics. It doesn't matter if you run a perfect election campaign. It is still impossible to get 100% of all votes, even if you are a good person, a good politician and try really hard and want the best for your voters. We all have different tastes. That is part of human nature. You cannot please everyone, even if you made this your life's purpose. And this is a good thing, because you should appreciate that there are different opinions. This brings variety and makes life fascinating. It would be very boring if we all had the same taste. And this leads me to the next piece of advice. Learn to disagree. Many of the people that I meet that care a lot often come across as being people pleasers. There is nothing wrong with helping or even pleasing other people. This can be a sure way to form deep and fulfilling relationships. But some people take this to an unhealthy extreme. You probably also know a person or two that seemingly doesn't have their own opinion. Someone that just agrees with everyone on everything. And if they are strongly disagreeing, they usually do this by saying nothing. So if you're a guy and think you are too nice for this world, just check out my video about the book No More Mr. Nice Guy by Dr. Robert Glover. He has many years of experience of curing what he calls the nice guy syndrome. But for now, just try to disagree some more. And if you have a really hard time disagreeing with someone, simply baby step it. Start small and say things like, "I don't like burgers for lunch today," or "I like your other tie you wore yesterday better," or some similar non-threatening disagreement. People who always agree usually do this because they think that this is a sure way to become more likable. But if you start to disagree some more, you will quickly learn that people will like and respect you more when you show that you have your own opinion. Additionally, your unconscious mind will learn that having another opinion is nothing to worry about. Learning to disagree will help you tremendously with not worrying about the opinions of other people. Tip number 3 is travel the world. So now you may be thinking to yourself, what has traveling to do with stop caring what others think of me? It is very simple. People who care a lot what others think about them are often prejudiced. They tend to prejudge, so to speak, people more than others. Studies have shown that we all do this stereotype thinking to some degree. This is something that evolved naturally because for us humans this is a great time-saving tool. We can take a look at someone, find a couple of cues and put them into a box. We all do this to some degree because our mind simply cannot take a look at each individual and create a new box for every human we encounter. Even if this method would be more accurate, it is still impossible because we often look at and judge a couple of hundred to a few thousand people a day, and creating a new box for everyone would simply be too much for our minds. People who care a lot what others think just tend to do this more than others. Traveling is highly linked to reducing prejudices and stereotype thinking. If you travel the world, get to know many people and many cultures, learn about their differences and their way of thinking about the world, you will quickly learn to judge less, which will help you immensely with caring less. The next tip is a mental exercise. I do it from time to time. It is called zooming out. Zooming out is all about trying to see things in a bigger, more realistic context. Sometimes you are just too close, too involved in a situation and too much in your own head so that you miss the big picture. Let's say you're on stage and about to give a presentation, or if you want to approach a member of the opposite sex. Thinking about what others think of you won't help you at all. And it often feels like that there is just you and a big audience, or just you and the other person you're about to approach. It can feel like that if the audience doesn't like you, no one will ever like you again. Or if the girl that you're about to approach won't like you, that this would mean that no girl will ever like you again. It just feels like this because your brain is not wired to cope with these situations. It is not wired for our modern society with billions of people and countless opportunities to get it right. Just like I mentioned in the first video of this series. The exercise is very easy, just close your eyes for a few seconds and think about how big the world is, how much more opportunities you will get to succeed, how little impact this one event will have, and I also like to think about how it could change my life for the better, even if I fail. If you do this exercise from time to time and zoom out and understand that a 30 people audience is close to nothing compared to a population of the city you live in, you will feel a relief and of course you will care less. Tip number 5 is to get out of your head and shift your awareness into your body using meditation. Switching from being inside your head to getting out of your head can take a few minutes of effort, but you can train yourself and get better at it. Imagine that being inside your head and inside your body is like oil and water. It doesn't mix very well. It is either one or the other. That's, by the way, also the reason why you rarely hear some really clever interview statements of athletes after an intense sports match, but also why you don't see many computer scientists who are the life of the party. Personally, I think the best tip to get out of your head and into your body is meditation. I've been using meditation for a couple of years now, and this is the one thing I never want to live without again. There will be a meditation guide and a video about the benefits of meditation in the future, simply because this is a really big topic of interest for me and helped me a lot in my life. I will link it at the top right hand corner and the description after the release, so check those places if you are interested. But for now, don't think that this has to be a very complex and fancy thing. The most important rule is, if you want to start, start. Here is a quick guide with everything you need to know if you want to start today. Sit down and look at a fixed point. And if you find your eyes wandering, just refocus. And if this happens too often, just close your eyes for the first couple of sessions. Try to focus on your breath and try to think of nothing else than you inhaling and exhaling. If a thought comes up, just let it pass by and try to focus on you breathing again. I do this a couple of times a week for 20 minutes, but I started and I also recommend to begin with 5 minutes of meditation. There are actually many benefits to meditation, and just subscribe if you don't want to miss a video with all the benefits. But one of the most obvious benefits for me is that it helped me a lot to get out of my head quickly. This can be very useful if you're like me and in your head too much. The next tip is also based on the assumption that you're in your head too much. If you care a lot, chances are that you're an overly intellectual human being. There is nothing wrong with it. This is even quite useful in most situations. But overly intellectual people are usually the ones who also care more about what others think. Simply because they think a lot about everything, including what other people think. Here are some great tips to get you out of your head fast. Get active, move around, get your heart rate up, laugh loudly, even a fake laughter will help. And by the way guys, all of this will also work if you're alone, right before your next big presentation. Also doing something silly like playing patty cake, singing along cartoon songs loudly, shadowboxing, making funny voices, trying to beatbox or making movie sound effects with your voice will definitely help. If you're an overly intellectual individual who cares a lot, you definitely will feel weird. Even if you are on your own, because your logical mind will tell you that this isn't something that a sophisticated person would do. But you guessed right, this is a good sign. This is a sign that it is working. Maybe you even heard of some Hollywood stars that do stuff like this before they perform. They do this because it really helps them to stop caring what others think. So give this a try, and remember, this will also work if you do this alone and nobody's watching.